Gather around, listeners, and let me take you deep into the hearts of the wilderness, where 6 friends embarked on a camping trip they would never forget. Meet Kallus, Harald, Jessica, Jacob, Justin, and Sofia. The night began with laughter and fun, but as the hours passed, something strange started to unfold. Scenes open with the crackling sound of campfire and the chirping of crickets. The friends sit around the fire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames.
That was a great idea, Sofia. The stars are incredible out here.
Yeah, it's perfect. We needed this break, don't you think so, Harald?
Absolutely. It's good to get away from everything for a while. Plus, I've been wanting to show you guys my survival skills.
You always know how to impress, Harald. But let's not forget the marshmallows.
You two go ahead. I'll set up the tent. Some needs to make sure we don't end up sleeping on the stars, eh?
And I'll keep you all entertained. What do you get when you cross a joke with a bad situation? My entire existence.
Kallus couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy as he watched Sofia and Harald laugh together. His eyes often drifted off to Sofia, longing for her in a way that pained him. Jessica noticed this, her own heart aching for Kallus.
Kallus, you okay? You seem a bit quiet tonight.
I'm fine, Jess. Just enjoying the moment.
But Jessica saw through it. She always did. She reached out, placing a comforting hand on his arm.
If you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Everything went smooth that night, and they all went to bed. But Jessica woken up 1 hour later in the night. She heard a strange noise from the woods outside the tent. She looked out and saw Kallus standing in front of a tree.
Kallus?
He jumped.
Jesus! Oh, I'm taking a piss. Can I do that alone, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
She went back to bed. The next morning, everyone was waken up by the loud screams of Sofia. She screamed at the top of her lungs.
The fuck is going on?
Jacob, he's dead!
Dead? The fuck you mean?
Jacob's body was laying in the corner of the tent. His eyes were torn out. He had marks over his entire body. His arms and legs were twisted. His last expression looked like he had tried screaming for help his last moments.
How the fuck did this happen?
It makes no sense. We all went to bed last night. Who in the world could have done this without waking us up?
Wait. Because of the fact that we didn't wake up by the sound of the tent door opening. It must have been one of us doing this.
It's a stupid kind of thought. How dumb are you?
Hold on, Sofia. He actually has a point. The door of the tent is so old, creaking, which means at least Justin would have been woken up by the sound. Because he's a light sleeper, it makes no sense either way.
Like, how could he have been killed anyways? How didn't we hear his screams?
Was someone awake last night after we went to bed?
An uneasy silence fell over the group as everyone glanced at each other, suspicion and fear mingling in their eyes.
Kallus, you were up last night, weren't you? I saw you by that tree.
Yeah. But I was just, taking care of business. I didn't hear anything strange.
The tension among them grew thicker as the morning light filtered through the tent, casting eerie shadows over Jacob's lifeless body.
We need to figure out what happened here. We can't just sit around and point fingers.
Jacob, I didn't deserve this. We have to find out who did it.
Maybe we should search the area. See if there's any tracks or signs of someone else being here.
They nodded in agreement, their fear turning into a grim determination. As they stepped outside, the forest seemed to close in on them. The trees, looming like silent witnesses.
Are you sure you didn't see or hear anything last night? Anything at all?
No, Jess. I wish I had. I feel so useless right now.
They split into pairs, scoring the campsite and its surroundings. Sofia and Harald took the west side, Justin and Kallus the east, and Jessica stayed behind to keep an eye on the tent and Jacob's body. After some hours, the group returned to Jessica, and Kallus decided he needed to move Jacob's body away so that she could stay another night.
Why in Satan's hell would you want to sleep here another night? Do you have a death wish?
We can't just leave without figuring out who of us did that horrible crime.
But who could be next if we do figure it out? Jessica's right. We're going home.
No, we're not.
I think Kallus is right. If some of us killed Jacob, we should really not just leave. Everyone might get arrested.
Wait 1 minute. Where's Justin?
The group walked around the forest screaming Justin's name. When Sofia looked at Kallus, she knew Justin had last been seen with him.
Alice, you were the last one, Miss Justin. Where is he?
I don't know. We split up to cover more ground. I didn't hear or see anything unusual.
The group's anxiety mounted as they retracted the steps, scoring the campsite and the surrounding woods. Each snap of a twig and a rustle of leaves sent shivers down their spine.
We need to stick together from now on. No more splitting up. Whatever's out there, we face it as a group.
But what if it's one of us? How do we trust each other?
I just want to go home. This is too much.
That's when they heard Harald running back to the tent. When he reached the tent, he just fell forward, vomiting all over the place. He kept whispering to himself, "On that freaking stick hangs his body."
Harold, you okay?
Harald couldn't form coherent words, his eyes wide with terror. The group rushed to his side, their hearts pounding with dread.
Harold, what is it? What did you see?
Justin, he's...
The group followed Harald's trembling finger, pointing towards a clearing just beyond the tent. The smell of decay hitting their nostrils before they even saw it.
Oh my god!
There, impaled on a sharpened tree branch, was Justin's body. His face was twisted in agony, and his body bore the same gruesome marks as Jacob's.
No, this can't be happening.
This is insane. How could this have happened? We were all together.
The group stood in shocked silence, the reality of their situation sinking in. They were not alone in the woods, and whatever or whoever was with them was beyond human.
We need to get out of here. Now. This is not just some psychopath. This is something else entirely.
No, yet again, this fucking mistake happened. If we have just stuck together, this wouldn't have happened.
Well, what are we supposed to do now? We are completely sure none of us did this. Harold went with Sofia and I was here. If anyone did it, it must have been you.
The tension in group reached a boiling point. Accusations flew back and forth, each word stinging like a dagger in the already frayed bonds of friendship.
Stop it. Fighting won't help us. We need to think rationally.
Sophia's right. We need to stay calm and figure out a plan. We can't afford to lose our heads.
The group reluctantly agreed, but their air was thick with distrust. And they decided to make a perimeter around the campsite, setting up makeshift alarms with cans and strings, hoping to be alerted if anything or anyone approached during the night.
We need to keep watch in shifts. 2 people awake at all times. That way, if anything happens, we'll know immediately.
I'll take the first watch with Harold.
As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the trees, the group huddled together, their fear palpable. The forest, once a place of adventure and friendship, now felt like a sinister trap.
What do you think is happening, Harold? Do you really believe it's something inhuman?
I don't know, Sophia. But whatever it is, it's dangerous. We have to stay alert.
The night was eerily quiet, the usual sounds of the forest muted, as if the trees were holding in their breath. Jessica and Harald kept a vigilant watch, their eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement.
Do you trust Kallus?
I want to, but something about all this feels wrong. And he was acting strange last night.
We'll keep an eye on him. We can't take any chances.
Hours passed, and the second watch took over. Kallus and Sofia sat by the fire, the flickering flames casting shadows on their worried faces.
Sofia, do you think Jessica suspects me?
I don't know, Kallus, but we need to work together if we're going to survive this.
I don't know, Sofia. They suspect a little too much. Just go to sleep for a while.
When the morning came, Kallus left the tent and went up next to Jessica and Harald.
How's it going, you two? Everything good?
Well, I think I fell asleep for about half an hour, but I don't know.
Wait, where's Sofia? I checked the tent. She wasn't there.
They all looked up, and on a tree stick over the tent hanged her body, distorted in the same formations as Jacob's and Justin's. Panic set in the horrifying realization struck them. Sofia, who had been with Kallus during the second watch, was now the third victim. The group's nerves were stretched thin, the weight of their fear and suspicion becoming unbearable.
How? How could this happen again? We were all supposed to be on guard.
Kallus, you were with her. How did this happen?
I don't know. I must have fallen asleep, I swear. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything.
The once strong bonds between the friends were now fragile, teetering on the edge of collapse. The tense of betrayal and fear was palpable.
We need answers, Kallus. Every time it's you. Every time.
You have to believe me, Jess. I would never hurt Sofia or anyone else.
Maybe we should tie him up. Keep him where we can see him.
Kallus backed away, eyes wide with fear. He knew he was losing their trust, and the sense of isolation was suffocating.
Wait, please. You can't just...
Harold's right. It's for our safety. If you're innocent, you have nothing to worry about.
Reluctantly, Kallus allowed them to bind his hands, the ropes cutting into his skin. The day dragged on, each minute felt like an eternity. They took turns watching him, the weight of their own exhaustion pressing down on them.
What if we're wrong? What if there's something else out there?
I don't know, Harold, but we can't take any chances.
A dusk approached. The forest seemed to come alive with an eerie energy. The shadows lengthened, and the once familiar sound took on a sinister tone. Jessica and Harald prepared for another night, their nerves frayed and senses heightened.
We need to stay awake, no matter what.
Agreed. We can't afford to let our guard down again.
Despite their best efforts, sleep pulled at the edges of their consciousness. The fire crackled softly, casting dancing shadows on the tent.
Harold, I can't keep my eyes open.
Just a little longer, Jess. Just a little.
Their eyes was closed against their will, and the night swallowed them whole. It wasn't until the first light of dawn that they were jolted awake by a blood-curdling scream.
Harold? What's happening?
He stumbled out of the tent, hearts pounding, and there, hanging from another tree branch, was Kallus, his body mutilated in the same grotesque manner as the others.
How is this possible? We tied him up!
I don't understand. If Kallus was innocent, then what is doing this?
The realizations hit them like a cold wave. Whatever was out there, it was beyond their understanding, beyond anything they could fight or escape from.
We need to get out of here. Now.
But where do we go? We're deep in the woods. We could get lost.
It's a risk we have to take. Staying here is a death sentence.
They gathered what little they could carry and began to make their way through the forest. The daylight offering little comforts. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves set their nerves on edge. They moved quickly, driven by the primal urge to survive.
Do you think whatever it is will follow us?
I don't know, but we have to keep moving. We can't stop.
The hours passed in a blur. As night began to fall again, they found themselves at the edge of a clearing. A small cabin stood in the center, weathered and abandoned.
Maybe we can take shelter there for the night.
It's risky, but we don't have much choice.
They approached the cabin, the door creaking loudly as they pushed it open. The inside was dark and musty, but it offered a semblance of protection. They barricaded the door, and windows as best as he could and huddled together, the weight of their ordeal pressing down on them.
Do you think we'll make it through the night?
We have to. We don't have any other option.
As the darkness enveloped them once more, they could only hope that the walls of the cabin would keep the terror at bay. But deep down, they knew that whatever hunted them in the forest was not bound by the rules of nature world. And as the night stretched on, they could only wait their breath shallow for the dawn to come, or for the nightmare to claim them as well. That's when they heard a voice from the basement door.
What? What was that?
I'm checking it out.
No, you'll probably die!
So what am I supposed to do then? Let it come to us? Kill us? This is what it is.
Harald walks down the creaky stairs. That's when Jessica hears a scream.
What the fuck? It was you? All the time? But how? You died. Why?
It got quiet and Jessica hears a laugh. A man walks up the stairs. From the shadows, he looked bruised, hurt. He walked slowly with a kitchen knife out of the darkness into the light. And Jessica's eyes widened as she saw her crush standing in front of her with Harald's head in his hand.
Hello, Jessica.
But you killed them? You killed all of them? But why?
No one cares about anyone these days. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I have lived long enough.
You're a monster!
I am not a monster. This world is a monster. Whatever you do to fit in is just futile. They call me a monster. I just did exactly what I was being treated to do.
The cabin's dim lights flickered, casting unsettling shadows on the wall. As Kallus stood before Jessica, his face twisted into a grotesque semblance of a smile. The terror in Jessica's eyes was palpable as she struggled to comprehend the horrors that had unfolded before her eyes.
Why, Kallus? Why did you do this? We were friends. We trusted you.
Friends. Trust. That's a quaint idea. But it's nothing more than an illusion. The world is a cruel joke. And I was merely the punchline. They took everything from me. And I learned that to survive, you must embrace the darkness.
You're insane! You can't just...
Oh, but I can. I had to. You see, I was the one they laughed at, the one they ignored. Now I'm the one who decides who survives and who doesn't. And you, Jessica, you're here because you were naive enough to trust me.
Jessica's mind raced, trying to find an escape route, but the cabin's windows were barricaded, and the only exit was through the door which Kallus had entered. Desperation clawed at her heart as she glanced around for any means of defense.
You can't do this. You can't just kill everyone and expect to walk away from this. There must be another way.
There is no other way. This is the path I chose. And now you will join them.
As Kallus raised the knife, Jessica's mind, filled with frantic thoughts, needed to buy time, find a way out, or turn the situation around. She glanced back at the basement door, where she had heard the scream in Kallus' taunting laugh.
You can't kill me. Not yet. There's still something you want, isn't there? Some reason you're doing this? Maybe I can help you.
Help me? What could you possibly offer me now? I have everything I need.
There must be something. Anything. Just tell me what you want and maybe I can give it to you.
You think you can outwit me with your empty promises? How amusing. But fine. Entertain me. What could you possibly offer that I don't already have?
I know where there might be something valuable. Something that could help you. Whatever you're trying to achieve.
Go on.
In the basement, there's an old chest. It's hidden, but it might contain something you want. I don't know what it is, but it's been there for years.
Kallus' eyes narrowed, a mix of curiosity and suspicion crossing his face. He looked at the basement door, then back at Jessica, weighing his options.
Very well. Show me this chest. But if you're lying, I assure you, the consequences will be most unpleasant.
Jessica led Kallus to the basement door, her heart pounding as she descended the stairs with him. Every step felt like a march towards her doom, but she clung to the hope that she might find a way to turn the situation in her favor.
Please let this work.
As they reached the basement, Jessica fumbled in the dark, her hand trembling as she searched for the chest. Kallus' impatience grew, his breathing heavy with anticipation.
Hurry up.
Here, this is it.
Kallus yanked the chest open, his eyes scanning the contents. Inside there were old photographs, letters, and strange artifacts. Kallus' face contorted in confusion and then in anger.
This is nothing. You lied to me.
No, there has to be something valuable here. Please, you have to believe me.
But Kallus' rage was uncontrollable. In his fury, he grabbed Jessica, shaking her violently.
You think you can deceive me? You think you can save yourself with tricks? No more games.
As Kallus' grip tightened, Jessica knew she had to act fast. She glanced over at the basement, desperately searching for anything she could use as a weapon. Her eyes fell on a rusty metal pipe lying in the corner.
If I could just reach that pipe.
In a sudden burst of adrenaline, Jessica elbowed Kallus in the ribs, making him stumble back. She seized the metal pipe and swung it at him, catching him off guard.
You dare!
Jessica's strike fueled by fear and desperation, and she managed to knock Kallus to the ground. She wasted no time grabbing a nearby rope and quickly tying his hands and feet.
I'm sorry, Kallus, but I have to survive. I have to get out of here.
She looked at Kallus, laying there, and with a smile started walk toward the door. When suddenly she was stabbed from behind. She looked back slowly, just to stand face with Harald.
You desperate little ass. You could have made this so much easier.
He threw Jessica to the ground. She lost tons of blood, both inside and outside. Kallus with a grin walked up to Harald, standing next to him. As Jessica lay on the ground, struggling to stay conscious, Harald's face twisted into a grim smile. Kallus stood beside him, his expression a mixture of relief and triumph.
Harald, why?
Why? Because Kallus offered me a choice. I could have either been his next victim or his ally. Survival is a game of power, Jessica. You should have known that.
Harald was just another pawn who decided to join me. He realized the truth. In this world, there are predators and prey. And we chose who survives.
But why us? We trusted you. We were friends.
Friends? It was never about friendship. It was about proving that trust is a lie. That in the end, everyone betrays each other. One way or another.
Harald's knife was still bloodied from Jessica's wound, and he wiped it clean with a cold, methodical precision. Kallus watched with a detached satisfaction, his eyes gleaming with a sense of dark accomplishment.
Finish what you started. Make sure she's completely out of the picture. We don't want any loose ends.
Understood.
As Harald approached Jessica, she tried to mutter the last of her strength. The darkness was closing in, the world around her blurred. As she felt herself slipping away, just before unconsciousness took her, She saw Kallus and Harald standing over her, their faces a haunting reminder of the betrayal she had experienced. The sun slowly rose over the forest, casting an eerie light over the cabin. The once victorious Kallus and Harald now sat in the silence of their own making. Their faces was hard, their spirits cold, as they prepared to leave the cabin behind.
So, what now?
Now we leave. We've cleansed the forest of the weak and unworthy. It's time to disappear before anyone finds out what happened here.
They gathered their things and left the cabin. The forest reclaimed its quiet. The once lively campsite was now a graveyard of memories. The ground making by silent screams of the fallen. As Kallus and Harald disappeared into the woods, their dark deeds left behind, the forest seemed to sigh in relief. The cycle of terror had been completed, and the wilderness was once again a place of shadow and silence. But the echoes of their actions linger, a chilling reminder that trust, friendship, and survival are often illusions in the face of the true darkness. The forest would keep its secrets, and the story of that fateful camping trip would fade into a whispered legend of what happens when humanity is tested by the unrelenting void. And so, dear listeners, as you lay your head to rest tonight, remember the tale of Kallus and his twisted sense of survival. For in the depths of the wilderness, the line between friends and foe, sanity and madness, is thinner than you can imagine. The world is cold, and the next time someone is threatening you, just ask yourself, why should I apologize?